You've probably heard it called a doomsday machine, a weapon that feels like it was ripped straight out of a Cold War nightmare. But what is Russia's Poseidon superweapon really? Is it just a massive propaganda bluff, or is it maybe the most destabilizing piece of military hardware on the entire planet? Well, to figure that out, we have to go back to a very strange and very public accident.
Okay, so picture this. The setting is a totally routine military meeting. Vladimir Putin is in the resort city of Sochi talking to his top commanders. State TV cameras are there, rolling on what everyone expects to be a heavily scripted, kind of boring event. But then, something happens that was definitely not in the script.
A TV camera operator accidentally, and I'm using big air quotes here, pans away from Putin, and it zooms right in on a classified document being held by an officer. The paper detailed a weapons system called Status 6. Now, the Kremlin apologized for this lapse, but pretty much everyone saw right through it. This wasn't a mistake. It was a calculated, deliberate message.
So was it really a slip-up, or was Russia sending a very clear and very terrifying message to the West? Yeah, this was the world's first real glimpse of a weapon designed to completely rewrite the rules of nuclear war.
But here's the thing about that first glimpse. It was wrapped in layers of disinformation. So to really understand Poseidon, our first job is to peel back all those sensational myths. Because what's underneath, the reality, is actually even more frightening.
All right, so let's break this down. That initial leak, it claimed Poseidon was a 100-megaton cobalt bomb that would create a massive radioactive tsunami. I mean, it sounds like a movie plot, right? And experts agree that's mostly propaganda. But the reality is still a 2-megaton city killer. The real threat isn't some Hollywood tidal wave. It's the catastrophic, long-term contamination of a major port or a critical naval base. You see, the myth was designed to scare everybody. The reality, it's strategically way more dangerous.
So let's be super clear about what this thing is. Poseidon is not a torpedo. It is a brand new category of weapon altogether. You should think of it more like a robotic, nuclear-powered mini-submarine that has an intercontinental range. And get this, its own AI brain.
Now let's put that warhead size into perspective. The propaganda screamed 100 megatons, but the reality is 2 megatons. And you might think, oh, 2 is a lot less than 100. But hold on. Remember the bomb that destroyed Hiroshima? That was just 0.015 megatons. That means Poseidon's actual warhead is over 130 times more powerful. And here's where it gets really sneaky. Poseidon can operate at a depth of 1,000 meters. That's over 3,200 feet down. To put that in perspective, that is way deeper than any US or NATO submarine can go. And it's well below the depth that any of our current anti-submarine torpedoes can even reach. It literally hides in a place we can't get to.
And then there's the speed. At its top end, this thing can move at 100 knots. That's over 185 kilometers an hour, underwater. To put it simply, military analysts have looked at this and basically concluded it is, and I quote, realistically uncatchable by any defensive system we have right now.
Okay, so all of this begs a huge question. Why? Why would you build such a complex and frankly terrifying weapon? The answer isn't really about having a bigger bomb. It's about geopolitics. It's about creating a bypass.
To really get why Poseidon even exists, you gotta go back to one specific date, December 13th, 2001. That's the day the United States officially pulled out of the Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty. Now, to the US, this was all about defending against rogue states, but to Russia, they saw it as an existential threat.
This single act created what analysts now call Russia's ballistic missile defense anxiety. Basically, the fear in Moscow was that America's new missile shield wasn't really a shield at all. It was a sword. It could allow the US to launch a nuclear first strike and then just shoot down Russia's weakened retaliation. Poseidon is the direct, asymmetric answer to that fear.
And this is why it's a true paradigm shift. See, for decades, the US poured trillions of dollars into learning how to look up, into space, to stop missiles coming over the poles. Poseidon doesn't care about any of that. It attacks from the deep, an environment where that multi-trillion-dollar missile shield is completely blind and totally useless. It bypasses the entire system.
But here's the thing. Even a weapon this insane has a weak spot, an Achilles heel, if you will. A weapon the size of a school bus can't just be fired from any old submarine. To use this monster, Russia had to build even bigger monsters to carry it.
So let's meet the motherships. First, you have the Belgorod. It is literally the world's longest submarine. It's a dual-use beast that can carry 6 Poseidons, but it can also do other shady stuff like mess with undersea internet cables. Then you have the Khabarovsk. This one is the dedicated killer, a purpose-built sub using Russia's latest stealth tech designed for one mission and one mission only, to disappear and launch its Doomsday weapons.
And what this sets up is this really incredible clash of military philosophies. It's a battle of ideas. On one side, you have Russia, which has invested billions into a single exquisite superweapon, a Leviathan. And the American response? It's not to build a better Leviathan, it's to build a swarm.
America's answer is something straight out of science fiction. You have programs like DARPA's Ocean of Things, which aims to sprinkle the seas with thousands of cheap, smart sensors to basically make the ocean transparent. And to actually kill Poseidon, the Pentagon is funding kamikaze underwater drones. Cheap, one-way attack vehicles designed to just hunt the weapon down and destroy it in a high-speed suicidal crash. It's the Leviathan versus the swarm.
But, the real, lasting damage from Poseidon might not be from an explosion at all. Its most profound impact isn't on the battlefield. It's what it does to the global rulebook. By just existing, this weapon has completely shattered the arms control framework that kept a very fragile peace for decades.
I mean, think about it. Arms control treaties, like the New START agreement. They work by counting things you can physically see and verify. Missile silos, bombers, launch tubes on a sub. But how on earth do you count Poseidon? Is the mothership the weapon, or is it the autonomous drone itself? It doesn't fit any of the old definitions, which makes verification the absolute bedrock of arms control pretty much impossible.
And listen, this isn't some far-off what-if scenario. The dominoes are already starting to fall. As Russia gets closer to actually deploying Poseidon, the pressure on the U.S. to respond just grows and grows. And any American response probably wouldn't be aimed just at Russia. It would also have to factor in China's growing arsenal, which could kick off a terrifying and deeply unstable three-way arms race.
So what makes this thing just so dangerous, so destabilizing? It's that it's a monster for all occasions. It has like 3 different terrifying jobs it can do. First, it's the ultimate second-strike weapon, guaranteeing retaliation no matter what. Second, it could be a tactical carrier killer designed to smash American naval power. And third, it could be a modern-day dead hand, an autonomous doomsday robot just loitering silently for months, waiting for the signal to end the world.
And that brings us right back to where we started. We began with that crazy propaganda myth of a 100-megaton tsunami bomb. But that myth was always a distraction, a bit of psychological theater. The reality? Of a 2-megaton, uncatchable, autonomous weapon that can be used in multiple ways, that's the real threat. The reality is far more destabilizing than the fantasy ever was. Because at the end of the day, Poseidon isn't just a piece of hardware. It's a system designed to bypass defenses, to exploit anxieties, and to broadcast one single, chilling message to the entire world. The old rules, the ones about nuclear deterrence, about arms control, about some semblance of global stability, they're gone.